Hi, everybody. This is Pete Torre, and welcome to episode 8 of the Pete Torre Show. Before we move on, I want to thank my sponsors, Jackson West Medical Center, Best Practices Title, and Clutch Burger. My purpose, as it always is to inform, educate, and inspire you to take your business, your career to that next level and enhance your life. Today's program will have an international trade twist to it. My first guest is Eric Olafson. He is the Director of Global Trade and Business Development for Port Miami. My second guest, Sean Gazitua, President, CEO of WTDC. My first guest, as the Director of Global Trade and Business Development at Port Miami, Eric Olafson develops and oversees business strategies to promote one of the leading container ports in the state of Florida, including the promotion of the port's billion-dollar investment in infrastructure. Let's go ahead and have a talk with Eric. Welcome to the show, Eric. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Pete. Long time no see.
It's been a long time, and I know you've been quite busy. Lots happening at Port Miami, and I know the viewers are going to be very interested to know what's going on with cargo and everything, especially through the pandemic. So before we get into the numbers, and then very, very positive numbers, mind you, share with us your experience, you and all of your colleagues, what you went through the pandemic, the lockdown, and everything that went through there.
Well, let me tell you this, Pete. Last year, we go by fiscal year, and so it starts in October and goes through September. So pre-pandemic, starting in October 2019 and going into 2020, we had some record months. In fact, October 2019 was our best month ever in the history of the Port of Miami. So we were rocking and rolling. The economy was hot. Our cargo was great, and we were doing very, very well. And that went all the way up until March. And March is when we've had the first effects of the pandemic. And interestingly enough, it went by region. And obviously, it kind of went by just if you followed it on the news media on the globe.
Yep.
First was hit was China, right? So right around, I think Wuhan and China shut down all their factories January 18th. Now it takes about between 28 and 36 days for a ship to get from China to the United States. And those ships that were full when they shut down China still left the port, right? And the trucks that were on the way to the port. So we didn't really see anything until March. And all of a sudden, March, we saw a plummet of all the products coming in from Asia, from Vietnam, from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and from China especially. So we saw that, and it went down and cratered. I believe that April, there was a 52% decrease in China cargo. And it was devastating. It was, it was very concerning because you didn't know how long this was lasted. But that by that time, they'd already reopened the factories, finished the Chinese New Year. And then, so we saw China come back almost to normal and Europe hit. So when the shutdown hit Europe, all the tiles, all the wines, all the, goods that are coming from Europe, all of a sudden went from 100 to 0. So Europe hit around end of April, May. And then by June, Europe was rising back up again toward normal numbers, and Latin America hit.
Sure.
And Latin America is 46% of our cargo here because that's our bread and butter, as you know. That's every point south of us is very well connected to Port Miami. So that hit around early summer, and that didn't finish till the end of July. So then by August, we saw brightening in Latin America, Asia, and Europe almost returning to normal. And then by October, we just saw a surge. There was pent-up demand. And October 2020 became our busiest month ever at the Port of Miami with over 113,000 TEUs or containers.
So it's the story of Port Miami, although the details are different, is so similar to so many industries. And everybody has their story. Every business, every industry has their story of the pandemic. And for me, what's really exciting is how everyone, even though you went through all of that uncertainty and not knowing what was going to happen from one day to another, everyone has mustered the strength, the resources to say, we're not going to let this defeat us. We're going to move forward and we're going to make a comeback here. We're going to look at the numbers, we're going to look at the trends, what's going on, and we will adjust accordingly to what is going on there, and then take action moving forward. And Port Miami now, in terms of cargo, is from what we were talking about before we went on air here, is unbelievable. These numbers. Can you share a little bit more what's going on there, and that famous word surge? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's very interesting. What I wanted to talk about was how it ended up. What you were saying, how we went forward even though times were tough. We didn't stop. We didn't close for one day.
Yep.
We didn't shut down. We didn't stop. We just figured, we're gonna continue bringing these goods into the United States, because you have to remember that during the height of the pandemic, people still needed to eat. The fruits, the vegetables, the seafood. That all comes in through the Port of Miami.
And mind you, Eric, because everybody was at home, or most everybody was at home, the consumption of food went through the roof. Okay.
That was very interesting. We thought with the restaurants being closed or door service only, and with the cruise ships and the hotels being closed, that we would have saw a big drop in food consumption. Actually, during the heat of the pandemic, from March through August, food, which is perishables, went up 8.5%.
Yeah.
So it was incredible. You're right. And then on top of it all, during this, talk about the surge, since October through April now, we have seen perishables, fruits, vegetables, seafood go up 14%.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's been an incredible, that if you were betting on grocery stores, you know what I mean? That would have been your, you would have made a fortune in the stock market, because it has been a phenomenal. In fact, it's so important to us, and we've seen the trends increasing and continue to increase, that we are going to build a $47 million warehouse, cold storage warehouse at the Port of Miami, to be able to accommodate more and more of those perishables coming in from Peru, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, Colombia, Ecuador. So we're taking advantage of that and actually spending money because of this shift in the perishables trade.
It is prudent to invest that type of money, because what you don't want to do is not be ready for that opportunity when they're knocking at your door. If you don't invest it, you don't get ready, that opportunity is going to knock, but you're not going to be able to answer that door because you're not ready for it. You don't have the infrastructure in place to handle all that.
That comes from our mayor and our board of county commissioners have been super supportive of seeing that vision and seeing Miami as a growing port, and not shut the gate and say we're happy with where it is, but to look to that vision and see what are the products coming in, where are the areas that we have an ability to increase in. And so they've invested over $1 billion,
yep,
including this warehouse. So and also the vision of our port director Juan Carrilla has been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. I want to go briefly, not off our topic, but kind of, connecting to where you guys are ready and have been ready is a few years ago when the Panama Canal thing, that other part opened up, and the port dredging as well. That allowed Port Miami to be right at the top in terms of being competitive and being able to take these larger ships to come in there and be able to take advantage of these opportunities when they come. So that's been a big plus for you guys there. You want to talk a little bit about that?
That was another thing that a lot of people said, it'll never happen. Miami will only be a regional port. Why invest this money in deepening for the Panama Canal, because it's not going to be a big game changer at all for the East Coast. And we've seen the exact opposite. We've now seen, since the Panama Canal opened, we've had 5 years in a row of over 1 million TEUs, which is a record to have consecutive years in a row of over 1 million, including during the pandemic year, which I'm happy to say that even though it was a pandemic year, we were only down 4.8%.
Right. So
to me, that's a golden lining right there. 4.8% during the worst crisis since 1932 or possibly 1918. We were very, very happy for those numbers and seeing them increase. And you're right. The forethought of everybody saying we are going to be the first port out of the Panama Canal, that is at 50 feet, taking advantage of that. has allowed us, we actually get less ships here at the Port of Miami than we used to. We used to get 1,000 ships a year. Now we get about 888, but the cargo has increased. Why? Because we used to get 1,000 ships, and the biggest ship we could get in was 4,500 containers, which was the size of the smaller Panama Canal. With the expanded Panama Canal, we can bring ships up to 1,400 containers. So, and we're at the same depth and the same width as the expanded Panama Canal. So we just saw in April the largest cargo ship to ever visit Florida. Any Florida port was the CMA CGM Argentina at 14,000 TEUs. So although we're getting less visits, we're getting more cargo. So a ship used to, let's say, drop off 1,000 containers was a big deal, right? Now 3,000 is a normal drop per day.
Right.
So we've tripled the capacity.
It's a, no pun intended, but it's a drop at the bucket.
Yep. And you got to think it's all because of this market here in South Florida too. It's with the pandemic, we've seen huge changes in e-commerce. Everybody's ordering online, and so the methodology was bring your things to Savannah. They have huge warehouses, distribution centers there, and then they can service the whole Southeast in 5 to 6 days. Mm-hmm. Well, if I buy a couch or I buy a LED TV or what have you, and I want it delivered tomorrow, because as e-commerce, you have to build the warehouses here in Miami. So we've seen Amazon build 6 warehouses here to be able to accommodate us, which means all of a sudden our port becomes that much more important, because you want to bring in your cargo that's going to the market closest to where that market is, not Savannah and pay for the transportation costs and wait 4 days to get there, but bring it to Miami and it's delivered next day. So we've seen some great opportunities. And with the growth, I mean, Pete, you see this too. It seems like half of New York has moved to Miami during the pandemic, right?
And you're probably being conservative with those numbers. I think it might be high.
That's good, because those are consumers. Those are people that are adding to our tax base. They're consuming, and when they consume, they add to our tax base as well.
Everybody benefits from that. Everybody benefits. My understanding is the Port Miami is only second to Miami International Airport in terms of economic development impact for Miami-Dade County. And what do you know what those numbers are? Because a few years ago they were in the 20 billion. Do you know what those numbers are right now? It's
doubled now. It's $43 billion a year.
Unbelievable
impact. And the majority of that is not on this little island that you see behind me. The majority of that is in the warehouses, in the truck drivers, in the distribution centers, and the jobs. 334,000 jobs are directly or indirectly related to this port right here. So we are a huge jobs indicator, and we're building on that.
And generator, indicator and generator, and of course the tunnel, the port tunnel, which has loosened up traffic, and I know for years, my good friend Bill, he when he was running the port, he fought for that and just made sure that went through, and we saw the wonder of that and what is going on. So the tunnel, the port dredging, the Panama Canal, all of that, and the investment and the astute investment from the county and beyond that here has allowed, I think, Port Miami to not just get through the pandemic, but be able to be very successful and hit record numbers or just short of record numbers.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine 1 million trucks going through downtown Miami now with all the development that's happened? Right,
crazy.
Go right through downtown Miami, through Miami-Dade College campus. And it was a mess. They had to go through 5 lights. Sometimes the line would be 5 miles long. Now you go directly from the interstate highway system to the Port of Miami, or you leave, no stoplights between Port Miami and Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago. It's amazing what that's done. And finally, Pete, don't forget the on-dock rail.
That's right.
So that can take 200 containers off of the streets. That's 200 trucks off of the streets. It's green, and we're seeing a huge increase in the rail as well with this surge in cargo. Every way that we can evacuate it from the port to the consumer, it's all being benefited by those investments that our county commission and the mayor invested in to be able to make us a super port on the East Coast.
A super port. You got a super team there, and I want to congratulate everybody. We'll get Juan on the program, and we'll talk at that point about the cruise lines and what's going on. But again, my friend, thank you for taking time to be with us here today. This has been very insightful. These are exciting numbers. They're very positive. Although, when you're very successful, you know as well as I do, everyone wants what you have. So you've got competing ports that want the business that's going on here. So you've got to always stay one step ahead and not just be satisfied or sit on your laurels. This is about keeping it and looking at trends and what's going on.
We're investing in new cranes, 4 new super post-Panamax cranes to accommodate the bigger ships. Where we're, instead of an island, we can't go out anymore into the bay. What we're doing is going up. So we're investing in RTGs, which will allow us to stack up 4 or 5 high and go up and down. These are electric rubber gantry cranes that are not diesel, but electric, so they have 0 emissions. We're investing in new gate technology to allow the faster input and export. So yeah, you're right. We have another $1 billion in investment that's coming forward in the next few years. So we haven't stopped. We're going to continue.
Don't stop, man. Just one day at a time. Keep moving forward. Hey, my friend, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. It's my pleasure.
You take care. Bye-bye now. All righty.
Bye-bye.
A big thank you once again to Eric Olafson for Port Miami for being with us today. And now for my second guest. Sean Gazitua is president and CEO of WTDC, a Miami-based logistics infrastructure company providing supply chain management, foreign trade zone, and U.S. customs bonded warehousing, along with international and domestic transportation management, inventory control, and fulfillment. Mr. Gazitua is the 3rd generation of a family-owned business at WTDC. Now let's have a chat with Sean Gazitua. Right, welcome to the show, Sean. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, thank you for having me on, Pete. Always great to see you. You're a friend, but also a family member of the Gazituas.
Yeah, man. I'm going to get legally adopted. I'm going to take the Delatorre and add the Gazitua to the end of that there.
All right, we'll send a messenger on your behalf to the courthouse.
There you go. Hey, man, congratulations on all the wonderful things that are going on for WTDC and for yourself personally. And I know that is a family tradition, knowing the family and knowing your dad for 30 plus years and seeing just the values of what the Gazitua name represents, the core values, doing things the right way for the right reasons. And it shows. It shows in everything that you do. And your success is not an accident. It has happened because the values are there. The vision is always there. And so I want to, first of all, it's my honor to bring you back on the show and congratulate you.
Thank you very much. Well, let me give a little background on, for your viewers to know who I am, right? Because I don't know if everyone would know who I am. But so Sean Gazitua, president and CEO of WTDC. WTDC, we're a logistics company and a foreign trade zone here in Miami. I'm actually 3rd generation Gazitua running the company. Our family has been in the industry for over 70 years, actually. And, I think some of our success is that we remember our stories, right? So my grandfather came to this country from Chile over 70 years ago with a dream of entering the aviation industry. I know freight forwarding it has to do with some airplanes, but this is the dream that he had. He came here. He actually met my grandmother, who came to this country from Spain via Cuba because she wanted to be an opera singer. Mm-hmm. And the story goes that they won a dance tournament and they got married the next day, right? So, but he had the American dream to come here, and he has a real success story. He came here, and the only job at the nearby airliner was a janitor position, right? So he started as a janitor. The story goes that, he's an honest, hardworking individual, very educated from Chile. One day they were looking for a box in the warehouse. And, he saw it there. It was actually a doorstop for the entrance. And he's like, oh, I see the box. It's right here. I walk by it every day. The box contained like millions of dollars of diamonds. So they're like, you know what? We're going to promote you to the security guard. So the next year he was a security guard. And a year later, he was vice president of sales for Latin America. So these are the ideas these are the stories that we have to remember, that this is where we came from. And at the end of the day, we have to be honest people, like you said, transparent, hardworking. And I think that's our success, that we just remember our stories. And the same thing happened with me here at WTDC. I went to FIU. We're very involved with FIU. I got my international business degree. By the way, it's top 3 in the country always. FIU plug.
And many, many different categories too.
Yeah. So I came here to WTDC, over here, shirt and tie, big shot. Got my international business degree. And my dad says the next day, he's like, "Hey, come in t-shirt and shorts." I'm like, "Why?" I'm an executive. He's like, "No, come in t-shirt and shorts." That first year, I worked in the warehouse, and of course, I was hating it. I'm like, "Why am I moving boxes? I got my degree." The following year, I was promoted to a forklift driver for a year. And then I went into the warehouse the following year, did data entry a million times. And then a customer service representative. And then, customer service director. And then little by little, I was everything within the company. And of course, at that moment, I was like, why am I doing this? But now that I'm the president and CEO, I'm so thankful that I had that opportunity to really learn every single position, because we truly believe that we're a team. And, without the janitor in the company, if he's not here, we're not going to be successful.
Everybody gets affected.
Everyone.
Everybody gets affected, man. So I had the pleasure of being at your 70th anniversary last year, in front of the building.
Yeah.
You had that company serving those really cool pizzas, and you had a lot of family, and I was honored to be invited to that private event. And I'll never forget it, because it was, the date stands with me. It was March 13th, 2020.
Just
the
before
day they
COVID.
declared the national emergency.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a nice little pivot into that part of our conversation, is that I've known for a long time that with your dad, Ralph, and all of you guys, you've always been about re-engineering your companies, right? And reinventing yourselves. Well, COVID was the ultimate test in re-engineering and reinventing ourselves and pivot. And you guys, I got to tell you, not because you're talking with me here today, you led the way. You set the example on how to pivot in a very difficult situation. And I want our viewers to really sit back and listen for the next couple of minutes on how WTDC was able to do that great pivot through the whole COVID thing.
Sure. So imagine our business, about 90% of the business is travel retail. So what does travel retail mean? It means delivering goods to the cruise lines, which stopped cruising the mid-March 2020, and international airlines and border stores. Okay, so COVID definitely affected that business. The only inventory that was moving was inventory coming into the warehouse, because they had their projections for 2020, but nothing leaving the warehouse.
Right.
But luckily, since we're part of a global agent network, so which means we have companies like ourselves everywhere in the world, we saw this wave from China, like starting in December 2019, from Asia over Europe, and we knew sure enough that this was going to come to us. So what did we do? As a family company, being here for over 70 years, we always say that our employees are our most important assets. So we invested in technology. So we bought these tablets, which I'm on right now, and thank God we did so, because we're on Zoom meetings every other day, right? We also upgraded our IT software within the company. So once we took care of our people, that's when we took a step back. It's like, okay, our verticals, our sales are going to drop dramatically, because we're focused on the cruise lines. We're focused on the airlines, international travel. So that's when we identified different verticals that we should go after. Obviously, the most important vertical that we focused on are medical devices, personal protective equipment, PPE. So through our worldwide agent network, and also with our contracts with the airlines and contracts with the steamship lines, we're able to move products from country of origin to country of destination. Doesn't matter where it's going, because WTDC, as I mentioned, we're a foreign trade zone. So a benefit of being a foreign trade zone is that you could bring products here into Miami, and they're not necessarily in Miami because you're not paying U.S. customs taxes or duties, as long as they're exported. And the geographic location of Miami, we have airlines, flights daily to Latin America, and sailings weekly to Latin America and the Caribbean. So that really, we had to change gears quick, stop investing money in this industry, give the service there, but we knew that the business would slow down, but focus all of our efforts on medical equipment. We also focused on renewable energy. We see that many countries in Latin America, and obviously the Caribbean, they're looking to improve their solar infrastructure. wind, hydro,
Yep.
etc. So we also are focusing on that. And we also expanded. We opened an office in Chile. So like I mentioned, my grandfather came from Chile, and we always wanted to have do business with Chile, but there was never the right opportunity.
Right.
The second largest trucking company in Chile reached out to us and said they're interested in doing this, and we said we're interested in doing that. We met about 1,000 times because we believe in having that relationship, and their family and our family think the same, right? Basically, what we say is what they say in Spanish. It's incredible. So we have been pivoting, we have been moving, shaking. I mean, just going with the times, and luckily right now we're very busy. We're trying to find people to work for the company. I know that you've seen the news that it's difficult to find
Very
employees.
difficult. Very difficult.
We're on the websites. We're going to churches. Okay, we just posted on Craigslist. I mean, we're just trying to find people any way that we can, do our background, do our due diligence, and bring them on board, because we're back. We're working. We're back to work, and we want to employ people, right? So hopefully we can find the right individuals for us.
That what you just mentioned right now, it's just another hiccup that we're going through.
COVID's not over, right? I mean, it feels like in Miami, COVID's done, but in reality, it's not, right? So we're still going through this. Look, the beautiful background that you have right now of lumber, there's a lumber shortage in the United States. Our operation team tried to find pallets or purchase pallets, because wooden pallets is where you move products on. The only pallets available were in Utah for 3 times the price.
I'll sell you these at a great price if you
want.
All
right, great. I'll buy them. I need them. Okay. So no, but little examples of what I'm saying right now, the trucking shortages, the lumber shortages, the gas prices going up. We're navigating through these. You remember, our family has been in this industry for 70 years. So we've gone through 9/11. We've gone through Venezuela up and down, Argentina devaluation of the currency. So we know we've heard these stories from my grandfather. I've heard these stories from my dad. How do we go through these things, right? You need to, and that's a good thing about being a small to medium sized company, is that we can pivot quick, right?
You talked about the cruise industry, but you guys are like a speedboat. A speedboat can switch gears, can move in different directions, can move quickly, as opposed to a cruise line that is big and bulky, and anytime they got to have a change of course, they got to actually slow down, even if they're going to shift X amount of degrees to the right, to the left. It's a slow down process. WTDC has always been that speedboat that can just shift and leverage the opportunities there. Before we wrap it up, Sean, I want to talk about the family has always been involved in the community. Your dad and as a deacon in the Catholic Church and the service he's provided. Your mom through the Frost Museum. Your brother Andy, through the community and everything he does. You yourself have a great history of giving back, and just recently you were appointed vice president of the FIU Alumni Associate Board of Directors. Yeah. Can you share with us briefly what that actually is and what it means to the community and to you personally?
Yeah, so FIU Alumni Board of Directors is a great organization. With FIU, I've just been elected as a vice president. FIU Board of Directors, we have this acronym that's PAUSE, Panther Success, Alumni. Actually, I'm trying to remember what pause means. I kind of drawing a blank. But basically what we want to do is we want to give back to the student success and also let the alumni know of all the great things that are going on in the community, right?
Yes.
Remember, FIU is an incredible academic institution. Like I mentioned, our international business program is ranked 3rd, 4th in the country. Our law school is always the top bar passage rating law school in the state of Florida. Okay, our marine biology is doing so much work with Biscayne Bay right now. It's incredible the things that they're doing over there. They have the only underwater campus, which is in the Keys in the United States. I mean, the things that they're doing right now, I mean, I'm not talking about hospitality management with the South Beach Food and Wine Festival coming up. I mean, the things that FIU does, and our alumni, they don't really know how great everything's going on over there, right? I mean, FIU is I believe right now we're the sixth largest university in the country, right?
And by design too, because I had spoken to Dr. Rosenberg a few years ago, and it wasn't just these numbers are growing organically. This is by design. There's a plan here, and the plan is to become that global international university that will welcome students from all over the world with programs that are relevant to their future. Not just to say that it's an international, we have all these students, but programs that are actually working and mean something. Sean, we're out of time, and that always happens when we have a lot of fun, like I always do with you and when I've spoken to your dad. How can the viewers find out more about WTDC and the services and the things that you guys are doing?
Sure. You can visit www.wtdc.com. That's our website. We have links to our Instagram. We have links to our LinkedIn, all the other social media platforms there. And also, speaking of FIU, we love our internship programs. So if you are a student at FIU, we have a great internship program.
Yep.
Yeah. We just had 7 interns last semester going from Bangladesh, Brazil, India, Honduras. So it's great. The future is bright. We're excited to be here. I'm excited to be on your show. Thank you so much, and hopefully we can do this again.
Absolutely. It's like your dad says, and you guys have that terminology. Let's rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Let's do it.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
Take care of yourself. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now.
A big thank you once again to Sean Gazitua for joining us today on the show. I want to take a moment, though, to also thank you, our viewers who are with us all the time and are writing to us and give us tremendous feedback. Keep that coming in. Make sure to continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on my YouTube channel, Pete De La Torre. As we part ways, I want to leave you with this. Have a vision for tomorrow. Dream the big dreams. Yet, keep an eye on today, because today is the day that you can set up that incredible tomorrow for yourself. Take care of yourself, and God bless.